So today we're going to dive into something pretty incredible. It's a Tibetan practice that's, believe it or not, 1,000 years old. And it's designed to completely rewire how we experience, well, everything. It's called the 7-Point Mind Training, and you can think of it as this ancient but super practical toolkit for finding your footing in a world that often just feels chaotic.
Does that sound familiar? You know that feeling, right? Where your mind is just constantly pulled around by anxieties, by distractions, and this general sense that you're just not settled. It's this feeling that your own thoughts are running the show and you're just along for the ride.
And look, this is not a new problem. This quote from the Buddha is just perfect. It compares our mind to a trembling arrow. And that really gets to the heart of the ancient challenge this whole training is meant to solve. How in the world do we bring some stability and direction to our inner world?
Okay, so first things first, let's really diagnose the problem this training is for. We're talking about that universal, nagging feeling of dissatisfaction that so many of us walk around with every day. The source material actually has a name for this. It's called samsara. And it's not some far-off mystical place. It's a state of mind. It's that constant, exhausting churn of just living. You know, you earn, you spend, you get sick, you get better, and you look back after a few years and think, what have I really done besides just get by? It's that feeling deep down that something just isn't quite right. And what's our go-to move when things go wrong? A project fails, a relationship sours, you get sick? Our immediate automatic response is to point a finger. We instinctively start looking for an external cause, for a villain we can blame for our suffering. But what if that instinct is totally backwards? What if the source of all our problems isn't out there at all? This training makes a pretty radical claim. It points the finger inward, at one single culprit.
And this, right here, this is the bold, kind of counterintuitive idea that sits at the very heart of this entire practice.
The one thing to blame? Self-centeredness. Now, this isn't just about being selfish in a simple way. We're talking about that deep, gut-level belief that my happiness, my success, my comfort, that they come first above all else. It's that constant mental math of what's in it for me. This training says that that attitude, that's the real root of our misery.
Wow, this analogy just paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? Self-centeredness isn't some shield that protects us. It's like carrying a bundle of sharp thorns on your bare back. It's a constant source of irritation and pain that just creates conflict no matter where you go.
So, okay, if self-centeredness is the big problem, what's the solution? Well, the training gives us a two-part prescription. It's all about changing how we see reality itself and how we relate to other people. So the solution has two main parts. First, we train in what's called ultimate reality, basically, learning to see that things aren't as solid and permanent as they feel. And second, we train in relative reality, which means actively working on our compassion by flipping our whole focus from me to us. Let's break that down.
So that first part, it's about seeing the world as dreamlike. Now, this doesn't mean nothing is real. What it means is that nothing exists all by itself. Think about a wave in the ocean. It looks like its own separate thing, but it's completely dependent on all the water around it. In the same way, everything is connected and always changing, not nearly as solid as our minds trick us into believing. The second part is a really powerful compassion practice called taking and sending. It's a visualization exercise. So on your in-breath, you imagine taking in all the pain and hardship of other people as this black smoke, which then just dissolves that core of self-centeredness inside you. Then on the out-breath, you send all of your own peace, your health, your good fortune, you send it all out to them as this radiant white light. It's a direct, radical reversal of our usual instinct. But here's the thing. This isn't just a meditation you do in a quiet room. The whole system is designed to be pressure-tested right in the middle of the chaos of real life, especially when things get tough.
In fact, the source material is really clear about this. This practice is especially for an active life. Those difficulties, the arguments, the frustrations, they aren't interruptions to the practice. They are the practice. That's the training ground. This quote just offers a totally new way of looking at things. Hardship isn't a problem we need to avoid, it's actually a necessary ingredient for our own growth. It's like how an athlete needs resistance to build muscle, we need adversity to develop qualities like patience and resilience. So, the next time you face an obstacle, instead of just groaning, you can see it as a kind of alarm bell. It's a signal showing you exactly where your self-centeredness is flaring up. And that moment becomes this golden opportunity to apply the training and actively change your response. When you put all this together, it builds toward a profound, fundamental shift in how you see yourself and your place in the whole world.
This quote from the great sage Santideva, it draws such a stark line between two ways of living. One way he calls childish. It's based on your own benefit, which, as we've seen, just leads to conflict and anxiety. The other way, the way of the sages, is based on acting for others. And the results? Well, he says, just look at the difference.
And this leaves us with one last, really provocative question. By completely reframing adversity as opportunity, this ancient toolkit suggests that the people and situations that challenge us the most, our so-called enemies, they aren't obstacles to our growth. Actually, they're indispensable to it. They might just be the very teachers we need to finally defeat the one true enemy, our own self-centeredness.